Let's move now to the ACAC. And this game, last week, we were thinking this was going to be one of the big games, and it still is. But Garrett, surprisingly, gets beaten down at South Adams, which is a tough place to play, 9-7 in that one. They're at Leo, and right now Leo looks like, as you mentioned at the beginning of the season, they are the team to beat, and they've proven that so far.
Well, I had a funny feeling, and I picked Garrett to lose at South Adams last week because I thought that Garrett might overlook South Adams looking ahead to this marquee matchup at Leo, and that's exactly what happened. And South Adams is a good enough team to knock you off. South Adams' record doesn't indicate how good they actually are. And Garrett did I don't want to say they overlooked them, but maybe they did a little bit because they are kids. Kids do that sort of thing. But Garrett didn't play well against South Adams. And the thing is, they didn't score very much against South Adams. And they're going to have to put up a lot of points against Leo because I can tell you right now, Leo's going to score. If anything happens in this game, it's going to be Leo's going to score. And they've done it all year, and they'll do it again this week. So Garrett has to manage the ball, and they have to produce some points to keep up with the Leo offense because I'm telling you, Leo is going for 25, 30 points in this.
Yeah, that was my next question is how, after scoring just 7 against South Adams, how do you get the offense rectified from the fact that, they have talent on that side of the football? Spencer Burns has done a good job this year as he's been converted into a quarterback. Todd Fricke is one of the fastest players in the ACAC. How do you get it going this week in practice if you're Garrett?
Well, it sounds funny to say this, but the number one way for Garrett's offense to benefit in this game is for its defense to play well and get Leo off the field. If they can somehow control Leo's offense and get them off the field, they can't score if they don't have the ball. So that puts the ball back in Garrett's hands. If they can run the ball and work their way down the field, get a touchdown, get a field goal, Leo doesn't have the ball, then that's a way to keep up with Leo's offense. But they have to watch Leo on special teams as well. They've scored several times in special teams. So, just taking Andrew Cecilio, the quarterback, and Connor Casser, the running back, into account isn't good enough. You also got to be worried about special teams as well.
Yeah, the only other factor I think in this conference would be Heritage. Heritage has a really tough road the rest of the season. Southern Wells this coming week, and then Garrett in the final week. So I don't know. They might have a tough time getting back in it.
I'm sticking with my preseason prediction of the Lions.
That's a pretty good choice.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good choice, especially at this point in the year. Let's move on now finally to the NECC, and it's another game that's really for essentially what could be the conference championship. You're talking Fairfield at 6-1, at Busco 7-0. Obviously, we don't know that much about Fairfield because they're outside of our coverage area for the most part. But this is a team that lost to Lakeland last week, and both teams were 6-0. And Lakeland really dominated that game, 28-6. If you're Fairfield, how do you bounce back and get ready for what could be one of the two best teams you're going to face this season?
Well, in this league, there's really two championship weeks. There's this one, and then when Churubusco, if indeed they can knock off Fairfield this week, they play Lakeland to close their season. This will be a really good test for Churubusco because they have played, quite frankly, a soft schedule up until now. They haven't played any really solid teams up until this week. So it'll be a very good measuring stick to see how they can do against a good Fairfield team. But Fairfield, Lakeland, Churubusco are all right there at the top, and these next 2 weeks are going to determine who comes out on top. Could be Churubusco, or if Churubusco loses this week and then knocks off Lakeland next week, could have 3 teams with 1 loss sitting atop the standings, just like the SAC.
Yeah.
But Churubusco, they've done a magnificent job of running the ball. In fact, Kyle Mathewson set a school record last week, over 300 yards in a single game. And what's amazing is they lost their best lineman to injury before the season even started. So give credit to Churubusco for being able to find a running attack this year and working the clock and just powering over opponents.
Yeah, Mathewson goes for 319. Jordan Hamilton goes for $122. Each of those guys had 3 touchdowns. But if you're Busco, what's your focus heading into this game? Just keep doing what you're doing, keep the ball on the ground, keep the running game going?
Yes, you have to figure out a way to slow Fairfield's offense down because they have produced points at different times this year. And history shows Fairfield is Churubusco's nemesis. Fairfield always seems to have Churubusco's number. So maybe put the past out of your mind, focus on this year. It's a brand new year, brand new teams, and just worry about controlling Fairfield's offense and getting the ball back to your offense where you can work your way down the field 3-4 yards at a time, and maybe you got a chance in this. I do think Churubusco will win this game, but they've got to run the ball well, and that's what they rely on every game.
Then, that would bring a great game against Lakeland up
yes,
at Lakeland. Lakeland's only given up 41 points so far this season, which through 7 weeks is pretty impressive.
Yeah, defensively they are just phenomenal, but they've also showing they can score points as well. But when you only give up 41, you don't have to score much to win.
So I'm going to go down the list. You like Snyder, you like Homestead, you like Leo, and you like Busco.
Yes, I do.
All right, we'll see how it fares out. I know you've actually been picking quite a bit better than I have this season in the paper. So
I wouldn't say quite a bit, but a little bit.
I would say much better.
Okay.
Modesty, don't worry about it here on Inside the Zone.
Okay.
All right, that's Tom Davis. I'm Glenn Marini, and we'll see you next week.